What's up, Bills fans? How you doing? I just wanted to come do this. This is a game week. Patriots, Monday Night Football. It's a big week. And this is more about something else. Just what I've heard, what I've seen, what I've read, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on, the little bit of TV that I watch when it pertains to the two teams that are going to play on Monday night, our Bills and the Patriots. And it just I it never ceases to amaze me how a team, an organization gets so much credit. What's up, Utz? How you doing, bro? They get so much credit for doing the same exact things as other teams or just ordinary things. They get credit for doing ordinary things. Like, for example, Bills destroyed the Texans. Destroyed them, right? The next week, if David Culley wasn't such a bad coach, that same Texans team that got their shit pushed in by the Bills beats the Patriots. But the Patriots just know how to win. They know how to come through. The Bills, just this past Thursday on Thanksgiving, beat a depleted, injury-riddled Saints team in their place. That's the league, right? Bills have to play the rest of the season without Trey White. Bills played that game without 3, 4, arguably their best defensive and offensive linemen, correct? We could all sit here and agree Spencer Brown, when he's played, has played at a Pro Bowl level. Can we agree on that? Our best run stopper, not in the game. Our best interior lineman, possibly not in the game. Our best reserve interior defensive lineman on IR, Justin Zimmer. Okay. Dealt with it. Patriots play an injury-riddled, depleted Titans team in their place. No Derrick Henry, no Julio, no A.J. Brown, nothing. 2 running backs that are on and off practice squads, right? Oh my God, the Patriots are back. Look at how amazing they are. It didn't take Bill long to figure it out. He's fucking a genius. He is this, oh my God, this guy just basically invented football. He invented the sport that we all love and watch. Don't neglect the fact they have a rookie quarterback. Neglect the fact they gave up 270 rushing yards and they just managed to get some fumbles. Because you know how fumbles are. They're tricky. Sometimes they fall out of bounds. Sometimes the guy lands on them on your team. This particular Patriots gave up a 68-yard run and I think a 40-something yard run. Both times at the end of that run, there was a fumble, and they recovered both of them. Titans were 0 for 2 on 4th down in the red zone. Missed the field goal. Okay. So, yeah, the Patriots won the game. They played well. But let's be what all I ask for is even-handedness. Let's be honest about the situation. That same Titans team, with all their weapons, went into that place and just pretty much that was Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot, was that loss against the Titans in their building. Oh, I already know it's coming because that's just the way it is. It's built in. It's already the what do you call that? The shot's been called. The fix is in. Of course it is. But they don't get treated like a regular team that does regular things. Good things. But when they do bad things, it's kind of like last year. Wasn't he supposed to figure Cam Newton out? Weren't they supposed to unveil some new offense nobody saw? Wasn't the reason they didn't draft a quarterback last year is because they knew stuff about Jared Stidham nobody else did? And that they were good at quarterback? With everything with this team, it's the same old narrative. They know better. They'll figure it out. They're smarter. And now I'm going to go on to the Bills fans. There is a loser mentality that is seeped into this fan base. It's a bitch-made losers mentality. I see it all the time on Twitter. I see tons, even in some of these. I see some of these so-called Bills super fan. They're not super fans. They're super honks. People who want to make a name off themselves as a byproduct of being a fan of the team. If you're a real fan, you believe your team has a chance. You believe your team has a chance, right? Otherwise, what is it? According to Bills fans, these are the same old Patriots. They're unbeatable. The 3-30. They're shot. These are shell-shocked people that have been beaten into loserdom. Loserdom. And it makes me sick that there's such mentality, is such a loser's mentality. Can the Pats beat the Bills on Monday? Of course they can. Can the Bills beat the Pats? Hell fucking yeah, they can. Absolutely they can. But Bills fans are all ready to concede. They're ready to concede. They just have a loser's mentality that's been beaten into them. And they're not the old school Bills fans, at least some of the ones that I know. Maybe it's been beaten into some of those old school Bills fans, 17 years without playoffs. We should be fucking bulletproof, okay? We've been through it all. We've come through it all. Name another fan base, 4 straight Super Bowl losses. Constantly relived indignities of wide right. Constantly relived indignities of getting blown out by 50 in a Super Bowl and watching Don Beebe chase down Leon Lett. Andre Reed slamming his helmet down in the RCA Dome in Indianapolis. Thurman Thomas losing his helmet before the game. Walking into halftime up 13-6 with your heads down like you're losing the game in 93 against Dallas. Thurman Thomas, 2 fumbles. Kelly getting wheeled off the Rich Stadium field his last game as a Bill against Jacksonville playoff game. The Music City Miracle. Save the postage. I can go on all day long about the indignities. The I wasn't privy press conference. Bills fans should be fucking bulletproof. We've come through it all, been through it all. We are grizzled veterans. These new hangers on, these guys that have jumped on in the last maybe 5 years, decade, so they haven't been through what we've been through. They don't know what this is about. And they have a loser's mentality. They're more content going to the games, getting hammered, making fools out of themselves online, getting in their little cliques, talking like they know more about the sport than everybody else, retweeting each other, subtweeting each other, backing each other up when they get into little skirmishes and beefs on Twitter. Again, but they've figured it out. What's up, Fly Baby? They're amazing. Let's just be honest. Listen to the national media about the Patriots. Listen to Peter Schrager. Dude, they haven't only figured it out. They're going to the fucking Super Bowl. They're going to the Super Bowl. Yep. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. And they're a Super Bowl favorite. If you listen to these victims of the moment, like Peter Schrager, like Dan Orlovsky. I just love these guys. You know what? These former players. I'm glad you can find a next career in media, right? But what I want is a little non-bias, objectivity. That's all. Not fanboy cheerleading shit that we see in the media nowadays. Hot take-itis. That's all we get from every corner of the echo chamber, whether it's ESPN or the radio. It's just fanboy doom and gloom. That's all it ever is. It's sickening to have to ingest. And yeah, dude, a self-loathing Bills fan is just these are I use that exact phrase. Thank you, Frank. The self-loathing Bills fan. That's who they are. The woe is me. Oh, lick my wounds. Poor us. We're never going to figure it out. We can't win. You know, just Trey White goes down due to injury. That fucking sucks, right? We hate that. But when you watch a boxing match or an MMA match and some guy gets totally knocked off of his axis, completely flatlined, that is the sport you're watching. When a guy takes a knee to the eye and he's gushing blood and the ref is like, what do you want me to do, doc? What do you want me to do? And they stop the fight and you're mad about it. That is the sport you chose to watch. It was a freak thing that happened. Nobody is going to write sorry cards and get well wishes and send cookies to the Bills. Okay? And then you get the Bills fans who get on the radio or they get on Twitter and they act and talk like the Bills are supposed to have break glass in case of emergency cornerback at the ready to replace Trey White. Same thing with Spencer Brown, right? Everybody is bitching and moaning. Who do the Bills have right now that can replace Spencer Brown in the offensive line? He's been their best, most transcendent player on that unit. They've only played 3 games with Spencer Brown, John Feliciano, Darrell Williams, Deion Dawkins, and Mitch Morse as their starting 5 across the front. Do you know how many points they average in those 3 games? Can I tell you? 42. They averaged 24.5 first downs. Kansas City, Texans, here at the Jets. What's up, Damager? It's just disgusting to me that these Bills fans, they're just so ready to just wave the white flag. Please, Patriots, don't beat us. We'll be good. We'll behave. Trey White's injured. Don't play the games. That's the rhetoric I hear. Don't play the games. Don't show up. Really? It's sickening that this loser's mentality, self-loathing, self-pity, victimhood, whatever you want to call it, has just infested and diseased our fan base. It's diseased our fan base, and it is everywhere. It is like a plague. I am so glad that these people have nothing to do with the Bills in an actual way. In an actual way. And you hear them calling up the radio, you see them, and I shouldn't let it bother me because I try to do like this whole football thing, control the controllables, but it's almost impossible. It is almost impossible to ignore. It's everything, Neil. We came through, the older heads, the ones in here will know. We came through 4 straight Super. I went down the list. Ronnie Harmon dropping a touchdown pass in the end zone, AFC Championship style, AFC wildcard game in Cleveland, 89. It just we've come through it all. We've seen the 4 straight L's in the big one. We've seen we've had to be reminded about the Music City Miracle on a loop. We have to now, the new addition to the room is the Hail Murray. We get to enjoy that, right? That's what I said. Noons. I said it just now. I was like, you know what? Patriots, they beat a team. Yeah, don't play the games. Guy like that. Don't play the games, dude. Just don't show up. Super Bowl chances are over. If that was the mentality, right? Super Bowl 42, Giants have no business being on the field with the Patriots. 0. Stay your ass in East Rutherford, New Jersey. You lose. Nope. Alpha male athletes show up, they jock up, they strap up, they helmet up, and they go out there and they fucking play. You get to that level at that game, you got something different about you. And the average layperson doesn't get that. Thankfully, I came up in boxing gyms and I seen psycho athletes that made it pro. And I saw how fucking crazy they were in such a brutal sport. Violent, with an edge, just completely wired. And then I saw them decompressed, but you get them in their character, they were completely different people. You have to be an alpha male. You have to be. Walk near those dudes and you can tell there's something different. They're apex predators, period. They are the top 1 percentile. So this WGR guy, you're going to go tell a room full of dudes like that, your Super Bowl chances are over, guys. 6 games left. Just keep it right here in Orchard Park. Listen to the guys on Twitter. We don't got, the Super Bowl chances are over. We don't got a chance. Exactly. 1995, on third game of the year, was it third game of the year? Andre Reed tears the hamstring off the fucking bone. Okay. Tears his hamstring off the bone. But what happens? Was he cut in camp? I don't remember. May have been cut in camp. He was on the team a couple of years. Here comes Bill Brooks. What does he do? He sets the team's receiving record for touchdowns. 1991, I think it was the second game of the year. Maybe it was the third also. Similar thing. Bruce Smith hurts his knee, tears his MCL and his PCL. What are we going to do? Holy shit. That's Bruce fucking Smith, guys. Bruce Smith. Okay, this isn't. You know what? Here comes a rookie. Phil Hansen. Now, he wasn't Bruce Smith, but Phil Hansen was a fucking good player. A really good player. One of the most unsung Bills in their history. Okay. I'm not saying Dane Jackson is going to be that, but what I'm saying is that he's there for a reason. He's a competitor. He was drafted. You don't think that the players, him, the coaches, like if you think like this, if this is your mentality that we just have no shot anymore, you have no faith in our players, no faith in our scheme, no faith in our coaches, no faith in our brass that has gotten this team out of the doldrums of the NFL, the Siberia, worse than a team that could have been potentially relocated, rebranded, okay, dug out of obscurity. And you still have this infestation of a loser's mentality that just does not seem to want to go away. Self-loathing, woe is me, makes me sick. That's not real Bills fans. Those are not real Bills fans. I refuse to be associated with these types. Exactly. Mountain football. We don't have a Pro Bowl level quarterback, MVP candidate 2 years in a row. We don't have that, right? We don't have an offensive line. When intact is potentially a really, really good unit. We don't have a top 3 defense in the league. No, we don't have that. We don't have one of the best kickers in football that has range from 55 plus, right? We don't have that. We faced one of the best kick returners in the league last week, and the Bills wanted the opportunity. Asked the coach, we want to let him return the football. Short kick that ball. And what did they do? They held him inside the 20, 5 out of the 6 returns. What? Trey White was injured early in the second quarter. The Bills still held them to 6 points. Dane Jackson went in for Levi Wallace this year in Miami, and the Bills shut them out. 35-0. This isn't some slapdick player. Okay? This isn't some guy that just came off the street. Taron Johnson is an amazing nickel. It's just we have ballers all over the place. What are you? I mean, what are these people afraid of? Maybe we figured something out in the run game. Maybe we got something in Stevenson. Everybody last week before the Saints game calling for the coach to be fired, calling for Bean to start reevaluating how he drafts players. What? One loss does that to you? Granted, humiliating loss, terrible, unacceptable. The guy who pretty much ended the game for the Bills, because your mentality going in the half down, fuck it, maybe you're down 17-7. That game is still in hand. You can still get that back. You're getting the ball at the end of the half, no? At the start of the half, no? Instead, what do you get? The Isaiah McKenzie, I love you. But dude, he just basically did an NFL folly reel straight out of the 70s. Circa expansion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1976. Falling in the rain, ball squirting out untouched, hands them a first down and goal. And of course, we all knew Jonathan Taylor was just going to leap into the end zone. And the mentality going down 24-7, you're done. You're devastated. You're devastated. So the coach came out and said, top 3 kick returner in the league, punt and kickoff, you're on the bench. You're inactive. You're not playing. A guy they have history with in Vernon Butler, a guy they paid, a guy that they gave good money for a rotational role to. History with Eric Washington. History because Brandon Bean was part of the brass that drafted him. You're inactive, dude. You're not up to snuff. We're going to put 2 guys on the field that's never played for us before. Been active, but never played it down. And Brandon Bryant was really good. He needs to play. He looked good in a reserve role, hungry, eager. That's the kind of players we need on our team, not these entitled types that get a little too comfortable, a little too complacent. Zach Moss, dude, I love you. I want you to do well. I want you to be a dude. But dude, before you go doing a podcast, starting a clothing line, at least rush for a couple of 100-yard games in the league. Rack up some 1,000-yard seasons. Get some skins on the wall. Okay? We want you to be our Leonard Fournette, our power back, our A.J. Dillon. We want you to be that guy. We saw that touchdown run in Miami. Violent, physical, breaking tackles, running dudes over. You got that in your arsenal. Keep your head on straight. No, you're inactive. You don't got your shit wired tight. The most important thing apparently isn't the thing. Sat on the bench. Matt Breida, you're in. Scores us a touchdown. Adds a different dimension to the offense. This staff's not afraid to shake shit up. They're not. We've seen it. Everybody's hewing and crying about the guards. Quentin Spain turned into a malcontent last year. A guy they just paid a little bit of money to. They cut him. They straight cut him. So this team it has shown and has a history of like, look, we'll just turn the page on you. We're not beholden to anybody. Was that the Colts game? Why isn't it ground causing a fumble on a kick untouched, but a QB can slot? I don't know. That's a good question. I have to look that up, Butts. Yeah, I was too, Mountain. It's a shame, man. Thanks for guys coming in. Yeah, he did, Dale. He looked solid. Again, a guy who's never played for them. A guy who's been on their practice squad, been around the league, much like Justin Zimmer. And, he got in a game and played hungry and hard. Of course you keep Teron in the slot. He's that's what he is. I'm just trying to read some of your comments, guys. But the league is replete with stories about guys going down. I don't know if he said anything on Twitter back then, Doug. I just know that they were giving him extra time because he had that ankle surgery and stuff, but he was active the next week. But the point of it is this staff has shown they're not adverse. They're not averse to making changes and spinning the dial on dudes. They're not willing to do that. Look at they took a dude that's never played a meaningful down for them ever in Marquez Stevenson and replace the top 3 kick returner, both punt and kick, in the league with a guy that's never done anything for them in a regular season game. They absolutely, Eric, absolutely. And that's the thing is like these players, they get told how great they are by their agents and their yes men and all their little crew around them. But what their crew and their yes men and fanboys don't tell them is, look, that team right there is constantly looking to upgrade on you. Look at this Bills team. They're not beholden to any of these running backs. They're going to bring 2 or 3 fresh dudes in. They'll probably draft one. They'll probably sign one. Like, what are you doing? It's very frustrating. And we all want him to do well. We all sit here and root for every player that goes out on that field in a Bills uniform to be amazing. So it's not like that at all. And I know I'm going off on tangents, but the weak mentality of this fan base is just unacceptable. And it speaks to some of the mentality, maybe some of the players that have a weak mentality. They need cheerleaders. You know, you think Isaiah McKenzie, a guy on a 1-year deal, you're doing a podcast on stage every week with Tyler Dunn, dude. After a game, you had an egregious fumble in. Like, what are you thinking about, man? Like, where's your head at, dude? And then you just straight up lost your kick return job. Like, you're not a guy who's guaranteed a spot in this league 24/7, 365. This league will pass you by, man. We've seen it. Remember Eddie Lacy? A guy looked like old world running back. Boom, boom, gone. Le'Veon Bell held out for a big contract. Boom, boom, gone. Christian McCaffrey, son of a wide receiver, drafted in the top 10, got a big contract. Boom, 2 years in a row, injury reserve. Can you count on that guy going forward? Saquon Barkley. That position is volatile, man. Players that are drafted low come out of nowhere all the time and are good. The best running backs in this league were drafted in the 2nd round and lower. Get to some of your comments, guys. It's decent. He's a nice guy, but he also has a history of getting info from Jim Monis and Doug Whaley. And you think this brass, this management wants one of their current players, knowing the history Tyler has with some former Bills brass and currently does have because Monis and Whaley get on his podcast regularly? You think they want one of their current players talking shop with him? Nothing against Tyler, but do you think that? Knowing how buttoned down and CEO like McBean are, particularly McDermott? Hell fucking no. There is not a snow, and you don't think they don't know that shit? You're on a podcast just kind of aw shucks in an egregious error that just basically cost your team a game. Was a well, let's say cost, because there's a lot more time in that game, but it was a major catalyst for why they lost the game. Let's be real. Sup, Oasis, man. You've been hitting the room. Let me read some of your comments, bro. Vernon Butler's frustrating. Yeah, just he looks checked out. I went back and rewatched that game, as painful as it was. It made me sick. It made all of us sick to have to watch that team in a jersey and logo and colors we love get flung all over the field like children. But I watched it. I went through it again. And Vernon Butler, I know I ripped on Harrison Phillips, right? Didn't know this, came into the, started the year with a torn PCL, missed the first few games, was on and off the inactive list because he tore his PCL in the last preseason game in a surgically repaired knee. You know, he was getting flung around, but you know what? Maybe he's got a little bit of an excuse, a little bit. But if you're out there, you need to perform better. But Vernon Butler was no better. Vernon Butler was no better. I should have called him out too a lot more. I guess maybe I have more higher expectations for Harrison Phillips, but Butler was getting flung all over the place. And you're a man that size with that kind of ability, and where's your pride, man? If you're not playing play for the name on the back of your jersey at least, you know? Play for the people at home watching you, dude. It's very, very frustrating. What's up, Doug? I remember watching Butler yucking it up on the sideline, smiling during see, I didn't see that, Doug. And if I would have saw that, I would have vomited. I'll give you a comparison, right? Two players. Did you guys watch last night's game? Crazy game. Horrible, yet so bad you couldn't look away. It was a beautiful disaster. Browns-Ravens. Crazy touchdown pass to Mark Andrews, where Lamar is backing up. Fucking Clowney's in pursuit. Fucking Myles Garrett's in pursuit. Myles Garrett's an amazing player, right? He's the goods. Leads the league in sacks. Clowney, journeyman, bit of a bust, former first overall pick, never had double-digit sacks in the league. He's always injured. Whatever, right? But super, super physically gifted. People constantly give him chances because of those physical gifts, right? Watch the reaction of the two players after the play. Touchdown to Mark Andrews, where Clowney loses his mind. He is so upset. He's apoplectic. He's jumping up and down, holding his helmet. He is so pissed. What does Myles Garrett go do? Myles Garrett walks over to Lamar Jackson and shakes his fucking hand and just laughs with him. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's this new breed of player. Maybe not everybody has the same mentality. But if I'm a Cleveland Brown fan and I see that, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. There is no, I can't. I just can't with that shit, dude. You're leading the league in sacks, great, but yo, what are you doing, man? You know, I liked him coming out of school, Oasis. He's been on and off practice squads. I know he was with Philly. Don't know where he is now. I gotta believe that these coaches and these scouts look everywhere, and if they found the dude that would upgrade it at this particular point in time, they would do it. Biggest thing is you get Star back. It settles everything down. It calms everything down, and you have two guys now maybe you feel more comfortable with, and Brandon Bryant and Eli. You can just kind of roll them in and out as you see fit. Yeah, that, you know where that shit comes from, Oasis? The soccer. Soccer, it's not as physical a sport as football. It just isn't. And that became popular in soccer amongst the big players, and it filtered over here. And it's just like, look, fans, not to say the players don't hurt and stuff. Of course they do. They're the ones physically playing a toll. And I criticize weak-minded Bills fans very, very much during this video, because it's like, if we win, we don't win that impressively. If we win, it's like the only way the win could be legitimized is if the other team has 10 to 12 Pro Bowlers, a loaded roster with amazing back-end players, Hall of Fame coaching staff in their place. It's the only, and we win by that. Well, they win by 20 plus going away. It's the only way these certain fans now, these loser Bills fans, a win becomes legitimate in their mind. If we win a close one, it's like, they beat a depleted team. They blew out a depleted team. But my point was, with the Patriots, they just get all the credit for doing pretty much the same thing. Beat a bad Jets team a couple of times. Fucking amazing. Wow, Patriots are back. You know, isn't the guy who threw his helmet? Yeah, he is. Hit him in the head twice. Barely beat a bad Texans team with Davis Mills at quarterback. But if they had a competent head coach, they lose that game. Good win by the Patriots. They found a way to win. Good for them. Beat a depleted Texans team at home. Oh my God, they're never mind the fact we got gashed for almost 300 yards rushing and just got some luck. Because granted, turnovers can be lucky. There was a pass in the back of the end zone that hit off. There was the wide receivers for the Titans yesterday. You didn't know them. They were practice squad guys, special teams guys, no-name dudes. The guy reaches back, it goes off his hands, and J.C. Jackson is just standing right there. He's literally just standing right there. Anyone in this room could have intercepted that football. He was just right there for it. It was just like, come on. It's like, how much can you get? Their kicker, I don't know his name. He's been around the league a lot, I know. I don't think it's Bagley. I think Bagley is the kicker for the Colts. Maybe that's why his name's fresh in my mind. But he, 40-yarder, no win, no nothing. Boom, he misses it. I think he missed an extra point too. Their first touchdown. The game was 14-7, just misses the extra point, misses a field goal. They go 0 for 2 in the red zone when they went for it on 4th down. Okay. No, Falk is the kicker for the Pats. Yeah, they Patriot fans again are so. Yeah, there's another one. It's they get him with no running back what to speak of. I think their 2 running backs were down. No Patterson, no Cordarrelle Patterson, no Ridley. Their defense is a sieve, hapless building on a short week. It's just they just get all the credit in the world for just doing things that normal teams do. Do they have a good record? Yes. Are they a good football team? Absolutely. Do they have good players? Absolutely. I'm not saying that they don't. But it's just like they seem to get credit just for showing up. They get credit for leaving. They get credit for writing their name on top of the paper. They get extra credit for putting the correct date on the right-hand side. All these little things that other teams do and run into, they just seem to get like, oh man, the national news, like whatever it is, whatever you watch, whether it's Fox Sports or ESPN, any of these blue check, it's like they have a default setting. Genuflect to the Patriots, line up to drink the bathwater. Be at the ready, 24/7, 365. They know more. It's sickening. It is sickening. And then you have, like I stated, the loser lament Bills fans who will they'll fall into this because they inundate themselves with it. It's like cathartic. The reverse of that even. It's just like, oh my God, we have to be scared. That's the thing. There's the thing I was trying to hit on. They're scared. That's what it is at the end of the day, is they're scared. You expect our players to take that field on Monday night and be fucking scared and feel like you have any chance? Are you insane? Hell fucking no. Do you want a team of pussies like that? Like Dick Duran. Do you think his teams had any confidence? Led by Trent Edwards and J.P. Lossman. Zero confidence. There's a reason why a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick has been in this league as long as he had, played as many teams as he had, gotten as many chances. You know why? He's not afraid. He's not scared. The guy has he's not a winner, but the guy is fearless. He plays fearless. Because he has to. That's the only way he could stay in that league. And the person who gets on the radio and says the Bills' Super Bowl chances are gone without one player is a loser. I'll put it to you this way about a lot of these media types. There are people who were born on third base and have fooled themselves into believing they've hit a triple. I'll just put it to you that way. Literally. born on third base, and have been able to fool themselves into thinking they hit the hardest hit to execute in baseball, the hardest hit to get. They think that. When for most of us, we're still in the fucking born, still in the dugout, waiting for our chance to get a turn at bat. That's the way it is. Seriously, Mountain, they're just bow down, genuflect on your knees, and they're all too really willing and able. Why? Oh my God, we have to hear about their players 24/7. Oh my God, Matt Judon, great player. Bills took care of him for the Ravens last year in the AFC Championship game. No, he was on the Ravens. What did he do in that game? Let me read this, Dale. I heard someone on ESPN First Take called Mac Jones the baby goat this morning. Like candy, like candy. You let him get enough 1 year because comparing him to Brady, dude, it's this is what I'm talking about. It's insanity. Victims of the moment, just they're just so. It's like he's had some nice games. He's got a very good system around him that asks him, and he's made some nice throws in games. But there was some throws yesterday that were up for grabs that could have been intercepted. Players either made plays on them or they fell incomplete. If Hilliard holds on to that 68-yarder, if Freeman holds on to that 40-plus yarder, they almost gave up 300 rushing yards and lost because they fumbled 3 times. It's just amazing. And yeah, that's why they're practice squad backs who've been on a multitude of teams. But the facts are they still got gashed for those runs. You know, there's a lot of things that happen in the context of a game that most of these people who get on TV or they're on the radio and they talk and pontificate, they don't watch the games. They'll peruse the stat sheet, they check their fantasy league stats, they'll look at some highlights, and that's it. That's the extent of where they went. Okay. I can't do that. Me, maybe I'm a psycho. Maybe I'm a psycho. Yeah, right there too. Was it Long? Was his name Long? He had the ball in his hands. He had the ball in his hand and he dropped it. It should have been an interception. Mac Jones was scrambling. He threw it like sidearm to just try to get rid of it. How about all the sacks he takes? He's not mobile. He's got the Brady turtle up down to a fucking art though. Like he knows he's not going anywhere. He just eats it. He just goes right to the deck. We read some of the comments, guys. Hunter Henry couldn't do anything against last year, and our defense was worse. Well, they didn't. He was, he was on the Chargers. He really didn't do much. I mean, Jonnu Smith. I mean, I was looking at his stat. I'm not saying they're not good players. They're good players, and it's just like with the signing of those two guys, it was like those guys aren't Gronk and Aaron Hernandez combo. They're not even close. Gronk is the best tight end ever. He's the best tight end ever. Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever. And can a guy play more than 10 games in the same uniform and already he's being compared to that dude? Talk about disrespectful. Imagine how disrespectful. Like, you want to give Brady more fucking fuel? Let him hear the shit that they're saying about Mac Jones and why it is what it is, because they can just they found he's Brady. Imagine how disrespected he feels. All the hits, the countless thousands and hundreds of thousands of hours of repetition, the workouts, the film study, everything that went into what he did for that team. How fucking ungrateful. How fucking disgustingly ungrateful they are. Let me read some of the comments, guys. I was looking at his stats. Jones been sacked 24 times this year. He's been sacked quite a bit, and he's, had to throw some passes away. He's not a mobile guy. He's gonna stand there. He's there to be had, And if you're chasing him down, you're going to catch him. You will catch him. Did you see the piss poor effort on tackling on the? Yeah, they just waited for him to get bumped out of bounds, Doug, and I don't know if you noticed the Titans I forget if it was I think it might have been, it was either Myers or their other wide receiver whose name escapes me. He's been around, Aguilar. He just basically does this number. He stands, and the Titan guy runs into his back and hits him, and he's able to just cut in front of him and score. Everybody thought he was going to get bumped out of bounds. It was terrible. It was terrible. Like you saw it was like the opposite of the Bills-Tennessee game. Tennessee, they made their own breaks, but they got all their breaks. Like that Kevin Bird interception. It was a tip pass. We see tip passes all the time. Just dropped right to him. Just fell right to him. Last game for the Bills, they tipped a Trevor Siemian pass over the middle, where the most congested part of the field falls to the turf, incomplete. Josh Allen gets a pass tipped at the end of the half. Quan Alexander dives and intercepts it. It's, just go back and watch. Oh, they're shitting. They're just pissing on the. It's funny. ESPN. Was it ESPN Plus does this Man in the Arena? It's like a 10-part series. But I'm like, you're kind of bastardizing your own shit, right? Your people all day long on Twitter, on your air, talk about how this young dude has basically come and made everybody in New England forget about him. And how he's just been replaced. Like nothing you did mattered all those years. This should tell you all you need to know about people. It's a what have you done for me lately life. Nothing you've done means nothing. There's no such thing as accrued credibility no more. Having good receipts. There's no such thing as good receipts no more. Only bad ones. People only want to post your L's. They never want to post the victories. It's like great players, though. They always remember their worst plays, not their great ones. So it's kind of a condition of the human mind, but it's just amazing to me. And like I've stated, it's not that I'm saying that the Bills can't lose. They can lose. The Bills can lose to the Patriots, absolutely. But can they win? Of course they can. And this group, this contingent, this faction of so-called Bills fans that is just the self-loathing, misery monger, woe is me, oh, poor us, just defeatist losers lament singing vermin. I want no part of them. No part of them. They're not about it. They're not real fans. They would be the first people to jump ship if things go truly awry. The only reason they would go is to go guzzle beer and act like idiots in that parking lot over there, because it's just it's such interwoven into the culture. Every game is a must-win game, Neil. Abso-fucking-lutely. Every time that I don't care if the Bills replay the Jaguars game on Monday night. I expect them to go out and win that fucking game. Absolutely a must-win. Division game in your place against a rookie quarterback, you fucking ain't right. I expect to win. Absolutely. You have your quarterback. You have your guys. Go there and fucking win. That's my expectations. 6 Super Bowls and 8 trips, Mountain. 8 trips. The only thing keeping this guy from going for 10 Super Bowls this year, right, is Patricia Manning. Think about that. No Patricia Manning, the guy goes to the Super Bowl in 2005 and probably beats the Bears. Peyton Manning finally gets the monkey off his back, goes and wins his first. 2 Super Bowls against Eli. Loses. Think about that. The only thing standing between Tom Brady and 10 Super Bowls is Patricia Manning. Patricia Manning doesn't have those 2 boys. That man has 10 Super Bowls. Nope. It's and he can do it, man. He's a little shaky. Oh God, do I too, Doug. I'm hoping he gets one blocked. I'm hoping he gets one returned for a touchdown. I'm hoping Dane Jackson does a pick six in this game with a peace out. I don't want him to get flagged for taunting now, but I think I might take it. You know what? If he does a peace out to seal the game, would we take that? Would we take the taunting penalty? I'll take the taunting penalty to see him peace out. I 100% would, because you know they're going to try to test him. They're going to give this kid chances on some bingos. They wouldn't throw at Trey so much. They're going to throw at this kid, and I hope he makes them pay for it. But this was a two-way rant for me. It's the Bills, it's the loser Bills fan who thinks that everything is woe is me and we're gonna lose and we got no chance and oh my God, the Patriots are back. What are we gonna do? 2 games left against them. It's just too much to stomach. And then the national narrative that surrounds the Patriots, even the local narrative. You hear some of the local people who talk about the Patriots and they talk about Bill Belichick. It's just, oh God, just do you hear yourselves? You're nauseating. Oh, definitely, Mountain. It's just like Jerry Sullivan just gush it. Like I stated in my last live, Jerry Sullivan just, he would drink Bill Belichick. He would lick his ass if he let him. He would drink a cup of his piss. Jerry Sullivan would. There's a reason he was told he was bad for business at the Buffalo News. Now, you don't got to tell a fan base all they want to hear. You want to be objective. You want to be non-biased. But this guy is just a complete and utter, just stale, dry, tired, miserable old man that nobody likes. Like, you have nothing. It is, dude. It's just, and it's not me making this up. It's not me making this up. It's you can hear it. You guys can hear it. You don't need me to tell you. I'm just synthesizing this, but you hear it, you see it, you read it yourselves. Oh my God, I don't follow him, but I see people retweet him and oh my God, he's another one. He's on his knees. He's on his knees just like, give it to me. More. Please. Oh, sickening. Grown men like this. An organization that's been fined two first-round draft picks and millions of dollars for cheating. Twice. And they still get all this clout. And I do desperately want to see them knocked completely on their ass. Twice. Just totally bitch smacked to the ground. And again, he's a good coach, but he's a 500 coach. That's his record. He's a 500 coach. He has a slightly below 500 record without Tom Brady as his quarterback. With Tom Brady as his quarterback, his winning percentage is it's like 770. It's extremely high. Oh, and we're talking about without Tom Brady, we're talking about now it's at 140 games. He's still a little below 500. So he's an average coach. I think they played better as the underdog. But don't get me wrong, historian of the game, has a shit ton of knowledge, been around forever. He, as a defensive coordinator, master game planner. But as a head coach, his record is what it is. He's a slightly below 500 coach for almost 140 games. Like I didn't do that. Those are just simply the numbers. Oh, again, I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying his numbers bear it out. Body of work. 10 games is 10 games. He's doing well with this kid. I'm not dismissing that whatsoever. He's doing well. See, like with 6 games, this is where for me, I see that playoff momentum kind of start week 14, 15, 16, because again, this longer season, it's just we're gonna find out. Stop the run, put this kid in situations he doesn't want to be in. Get that place bumping, make that place nasty. noise. You know it's going to be live. You know it's going to be live in that house. I have no doubt about that. They're going to come out for this one. Bills fans show up and they show out. I mean, don't get me wrong. Filling that place for as long as they have, we have a lot of great fans, but we have some whiners and some losers too. Just makes me a little ill. Would I say he's the best coach? Well, I don't think Bill Parcells was as great a coach. I mean, he was a good coach, but see a good coach. A guy like Dick Vermeil, who comes out of nowhere after being gone for almost 20 years and goes to a Super Bowl and wins, that's pretty crazy. You got to be a good coach to do that shit. Parcells was more of a taskmaster. Bill's more of a good strategist. Bill's a good strategist. So in that sense, I would take Belichick over Parcells. I would take him over Parcells. Rookie McCorkle is about to. I mean, again, he's a rookie, right? What did we hear about Justin Herbert? He's the next guy. He's already passed Allen. He's on Mahomes' coattails. And look what happened. Me too, Antonio. I want to see it. I'm motivated. I'm motivated, for them. Like, I want to see how they respond to this adversity, how they rise to the occasion, because I think great teams endure adversity. Nothing in life is smooth sailing. Life is riddled with storms, dude. And winners and losers are dictated by how well you navigate them, period. Any sporting event, anything, nothing is a smooth ride. So I want to see how they withstand this. Made a bad team like the Jets a decent team. He was a defensive coordinator on. He got like a ton of money, all because Vinny Testaverde was injured. That's why he blew his Achilles out, and he wouldn't have been the quarterback that year if it wasn't for Vinny Testaverde blow. You think they wanted to start Ray Lucas? They didn't want to start Ray Lucas. They had to start Ray Lucas. Yeah, they got to get off, Jake. They got to bury them quick. They've got to bury them quick and not turn the ball over, and they've got to get a few themselves. Yeah, they're a good team. Again, I'm not saying that they can't win this game, but they absolutely can win this game. No to what, Daryl? Ray Lucas was the starter that whole year, Daryl? You sure about that? The shit team of the players he drafted. I don't know. He left the Jets with some good players, dude. Jason Ferguson. I mean, I could think of tons of players he left that team with. Mo Lewis. There's a few linebackers that he had that were really, really good. But Sean Ellis was a great player for them. But that year, that was the 99 year. They were an 8-8 team. 9-7. They had good players. They were the best team. They were one of the best teams in the league in 80 and 98. They were one of the best teams in the league. He didn't have a scrub team. He didn't have a scrub team. That was the first time Leon Hess opened up the playbook. They opened up the pay. He just wouldn't pay people. It's the first time he paid somebody and said, just leave it alone. I'll let you do whatever you want. That was the first time. And then Belichick retired on a napkin. He just basically said, "Here, I'm retiring. I don't want to be." He just quit. He didn't want to be part of. He didn't want to be associated with them. He wanted to go to New England. So, they had good players. They were a good team. They didn't win. They didn't win anything big. Wayne Corbett fumbled that ball in Denver, and that was it. But Wayne Corbett showed up there before him. Keyshawn Johnson was drafted the year before he showed up. He paid Neil O'Donnell a bunch of money in 97. What did he do? Again, he went to the Patriots when they had the first overall pick and a bunch of money and an old owner that was a new owner that was willing to spend. Robert Kraft was a season ticket holder that finally got a hold of the team, and he wanted to hire a big name coach, said he would spend a shit ton of money, and he had the first overall pick. That is a hell of an incentive to go there. No? And so he went. And he brought a lot of his former Giant players. Like look at players like Dave Meggett, Pepper Johnson. They followed Belichick and they followed Parcells everywhere. A guy like Otis Smith, a guy who played or he went with Parcells, went with Belichick, just played everywhere. Carwin Brown was a special teams player, a really good special teams player. Played with all those same teams. Back and forth, very incestuous relationship. Not saying it's bad, familiarity and stuff, but they had good they had good nucleuses. They were able to get good nucleuses quick. And he came. It's not like the Patriots were a bare cupboard. Willie McGinnis, Ty Law, Lawyer Malloy. They had the draft picks. He hit on draft picks. Don't get me wrong. He would hit on draft picks. It's like Jimmy Johnson was a great drafter. He wasn't a great X's and O's guy. What's up, Eric? How you doing, bro? But good stuff, Daryl. Good stuff. Good back and forth. Now you're bringing all this old shit back to me, dude. All this old Bill stuff. Of course they are. I mean, dude, anything in this league has this year not taught us that anything on any given week can happen? Like 2 weeks, the whole league can get flipped on its ear like that. Could be flipped on its ear, and we'll just be like, what the fuck? Anything could happen. You leave a team for dead, they rise up and they're like, boom. A team falls out of favor. They rise up, and it's just like, oh, here they are. They were never dead to begin with. It's just ebbs and flows of a season. 17 weeks now, not 16 weeks anymore, 17 weeks. And then there's only one bye week. So if you're running the table, you got to win. You're talking about 10 more football games. Think about how much football that is. 10 more football games. That is a shit ton of football to have to play. A shit ton. And it's not going to be an easy road for whoever has to do it or whoever does it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. And you're going to incur more injuries. You're going to incur more rough spots in games and have maybe one rough week in there. Look last week. Washington Redskins beat Tampa Bay. Beat them pretty good. This week, the team that ran the Bills over last week, Tampa Bay beats them in their place by a late score. Washington just takes the lead on the Seahawks. That's a team the Bills handled very, very easily, Washington Redskins. Guess who they're not playing with? Chase Young. Physical freak. Number 1 all draft pick, pass rusher. Those are harder to find than cornerbacks. Okay? Nobody's going to cry for the Bills. You got to find a way to get it done. Yeah, Dave, Bills got to handle their business. The Bills got to handle their business. And if they lose, I'll be in here on Monday night talking about why the hell they lost and what's going on forward. You're kidding. They're going to return this? They're going to get a point. Do they get a point for a block PAT, or do they get They got 2 points. Or no. Yep, they got 2 points. Oh my God. Did you guys just see what happened? Holy shit. Big dude, too. Who the hell was that? Yeah, I'd like to, Neil. They don't need a run game in Florida. Well, you need a run game to be balanced. That's for sure. Even like you saw how the Bills ran the ball last week. It wasn't sexy. 32 carries, a buck and change, but it kept that defense honest. And then in the third and fourth quarter, Singletary popped a few long ones, got some first downs. So you're on schedule offensively. And that's why you need to be able to be balanced. That's what I want. Yeah, it's I know Pittsburgh won a close game also when they had Hayden was down, Minka Fitzpatrick was down. They had a few players that were hurt, and they were able to play through it. Florida's crazy, man. Florida has a crazy weather. I know Brady has struggled in the heat too. That he said that in an interview that Miami and the Heat is a place he hated to play. Just hated to play there because of the heat. The ball felt weird off his hands because of the humidity in Florida. Excuse me, in Florida, it didn't feel right. So I'm not saying that that's going to play into it, but that's from his own mouth. That's crazy. You think you're going to go up 7? You think you're going to go up, traditional 10-7, and then they block. That is so rare to see. That is crazy. The kicker looks hurt too. Number 3, he looks hurt. Wow. What does he do on this kickoff return? Oh, he falls. He plants funny. He falls. He's having a rough night, man. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to watch, man. We'll all watch it, right, Daryl? We'll all watch it. But I just don't like this whole mentality of just trying to like mentally just already lose. We're already playing games on paper with the rosters and saying this is a loss, this is a loss. Oh, we might win this one. We probably will win this one. Can't think like that, man. Think that little of our players, you think that little of our staff, you think that little of no, man. I think this team plays better in a doubted role as the underdog, as the people, as the everybody thinks we're not going to win. They're coming into our house and they think they're going to just beat us. Their media is talking like they're going to beat us. Our own media is casting doubts. The national media has already crowned them. What more do you need? What more do you need? So sorry, guys. I just had to get that off my chest. I know none of you guys. Am I from New Mexico? And MN. What's MN? This is a. I got this because it's actually. I don't like what they stand for, but I like the logo, right? It's actually a soccer team in Germany. And the reason they have this logo is this punk rock guy used to go to their games back in the 80s and he would bring a pirate flag and just wave the pirate flag. And they didn't have a logo. And so they adopted the pirate, the East India Trading Company henchman, if you know history well, as its logo. So I was fascinated by that, and that's why I got it. And I saw a documentary about them, a couple of them, and so I had to order it from overseas. Whether the Bills rise or fall, we all, yeah, we. I mean, I'll never associate myself as the mafia, but we're gonna, Steve. We're fans. We're Bills fans, and we're brothers, and we'll ride it out together, and enjoy it together, or be in misery together. That's just the way we do it. Yeah, man, and Tom, they beat them. They beat them. They beat. They've got their number now, Tom. It's insane. Oh, you're gonna be there. It's gonna be insane, Doug. It's gonna be insane. Um, the atmosphere there. I mean, I don't know if Eric's going. I know you attend games regularly, dude. For people who get out to the games, I have to get out to a game hopefully soon. I mean, if they pull it out these next few weeks and look like they lock it up, beat New England a couple of times, and if they possibly go on a little bit of a run, I'm definitely going to try to get up for, end of year Atlanta, end of year Carolina, or Jets in Buffalo. I want to get up to one of those. I want to try to get up to one of those games. What's up, Jake? How you doing, bro? Yeah, just put the ball in the end zone. Put the ball in the end zone quick. Just get it. Just what they do to teams, and they're not particular. If you watch their games, is they'll get up on teams. They might score a touchdown, but they'll accumulate field goals. So they'll be up on a team 13-3, 16-6, 19 nothing, like against Atlanta. So they'll just tack on field goals. Yeah, you're right, Neil. I don't know about that. thanks for reminding me. It's so disappointing. But anyway, but then here comes that big turnover, like in Atlanta, the Van Noy interception, or you have 2-3 long runs by the Titans, and it's boom, there's an interception right on the end of it. Think about that. You're in the red zone twice, but instead your guy fumbles it, and New England just is there to fall on it. It was insane. No, not going to Monday night. Yeah, man, he's a rookie. Exactly, Eric. That's my point. Is he's a rookie. Give him the rookie treatment. Our defense is amazing at disguising coverage, changing looks pre and post snap. Give him the full Monty. And remember, they got to save something for a few weeks in advance. But in this game, empty the fucking kitchen sink on this kid. Just go. Oh, he lives in Byron, so he sees the Bayern Munich games. This team in particular is in Hamburg. Yeah, make him feel it. And you know what? This kid's played in front of big crowds in big games at Alabama. I mean, so am I under some impression that he's going to be just dwarfed? No. But in the NFL, against grown men, game planning for you 24/7, 365. The advanced scouts were looking at this game just as New England's was. Just as New England's was. They weren't doing anything that the Bills weren't. There's, again, more tape on Jones, more tape on Jones, more tape on Jones. And we've seen it with other quarterbacks. The more tape you get on them, the more stuff they figure out you like to do or don't do, they're going to start to try to attack it. It's going to be a lot of screen, a lot of keeping it underneath. I have a feeling the Bills are going to challenge these receivers. They're going to be like, oh, you think you're going to dink and dunk on us down the field? No, we're going to press you. We're going to play up on you. We're going to come up and tackle. We're going to bump and run you. They got to be aware of the screen game. They got to be very, very aware of the screen game. They don't have James White. He's out on injured reserve, but Brandon Bolden's filled in for that role pretty well. Hyde and Poyer need to – oh, yeah. Those two guys need to – like I was talking about Zach Moss earlier, Eric, and I was talking about him with the clothing line and the podcast, right? And it's like, dude, you've done nothing in the league. You don't even have one 100-yard game in the league, right? Like, where's your head at? You're doing a podcast every other week. You're trying to sell a clothing line, and where's your head at? And you're barely contributing to the offense. You're running, look like you have cement boots on. You're not, pulling your weight. And you get a guy like Jordan Poyer, a guy who's got skins on the wall, pretty much made his legacy with the Bills. Him and Hyde have gone down as two of the greatest free agent signings in Bills history, minus right up there with Bryce Paup and Ted Washington. Greatest signings in history, right? And yeah, DeMondre Stevens, he's a nice runner. I want Zach Moss to be a type like that for us, but he's not. But Poyer, he's humanized himself. He's come out about his addictions. Fighting alcoholism. He put out the Players Tribune piece today. He had a documentary You know, he does his little clothing drops and stuff like that for the Poyer thing, the big dubs and all that stuff. People will support that. People will buy that. People will get behind that because he's got skins on the wall. He's playing at a Pro Bowl level, for Christ's sake. These kids come into the league, and you're like Isaiah McKenzie. You just have a horrific fumble, and 2 days later, you're on a stage talking to Tyler Dunn about it like, oh, shucks, fuck, it happened. What do you want? It happened. Like, man, you can't. Nah, man, I'm sorry. That's not what we're about no more. That's that old shit, man. That's that Doug Whaley, Rex Ryan clown show shit. That's not new Bill shit. I wonder if Bill's. Yeah, dude, that's another indignity. Throwing a dildo on the field. Aaron Williams taking all those stupid, unsportsmanlike penalties. Just embarrassing stuff. Like we got to be beyond that. Yeah, man, dude, they need to do it twice. How about that? Twice. I thought you were talking about Marquez Stevenson for a second, Steve. I was like, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that kid. Do they just leave him as a kick returner? Do they start using him on offense? Does McKenzie get his job back? We're going to find out day after tomorrow. We're going to see who's taking reps and who's kind of chilling. Milano and Edmonds. And you know what, Eric? I would say some of the defensive linemen need to get their hands up. Get your hands up. Defensive linemen, get your hands up. There's nothing. You know what quarterbacks hate worse than anything? They hate this. Especially as tall as some of our linemen are now. You know, with Rousseau. And I saw AJ Epinesa and Boogie. I know Boogie might be inactive, but I saw those two guys like standing next to me. Like I'm standing, and those dudes, I'm telling you, like you can't see me. Like I can't tell you how tall they were. Like they were here. Like they were like here. I'm 5'10". These motherfuckers were like here. Their heads. I'm like, those are some big dudes. So they need to get their hands up. They need to bat some passes. And you know, when's the last time we've seen a batted pass? I mean, the last time I have a batted pass, I remember it was Rousseau batting the Mahomes ball to himself for an interception. Johnny Z, what's up, bro? I strongly feel the NFL wants a Pats Bucks Super Bowl. Look at the many bogus call. Yeah, it just seems. I hope not. I hope not. But it's like a narrative they're trying to play. And it's like there's too many moving parts that have to happen. You can't account for a devastating injury in the rhythm of a game. It is too much that you can't account for that. Yeah, he had the one bobble. You know the one that impressed me the most about Marquez Stevenson? The one, I think it was his second return. It might have been a punt return. He takes it on the sideline. And he's running. He's got a full lane, and the Saints coverage guy pops the shit out of him. He held on to that ball. Didn't fumble it, because if he would have fumbled it, there would have been nobody there, and there was another Saint there waiting to just take it. Here's this terrible. Look at that. Oh my God! I didn't realize how bad it was. The Kendrick Bourne touchdown. They literally. 3 Titans just stopped and watched him. Oh, my God. Now, here's a guy they continuously rub down your throat. It's sad to see, but Cam Newton is washed. Cam Newton is just washed. How bad does Carolina have to be to make that Dolphin team look that bad? Oh, that was a horrible interception by Roethlisberger. Horrible. Threw it right to that guy cutting across his wide receiver's face. Terrible. You read some of the comments here. Yeah, it was just terrible, Doug. It's just like they stopped and they looked at him and they expect him to run out of bounds, and he's still going. Oh, look at this pick six. Patrick Surtain was right off Eckler's hands. And you know what I hate about it? If you're Eckler and yeah, Eric, oh my God, how did they lose that? I mean, it just drives me nuts, man. I gotta stop, thinking about that. But like the ball goes off Eckler's hands and he just kind of stands there like this. Surtain's running under it. Dude, go fucking hustle and try to get that guy down. What are you doing? It was terrible. That was a terrible effort. Keep saying when Tannehill is forced to play quarterback, he'll play. Yeah, he's another one. He's another one. Like, if he is not handing the ball to Henry and getting defenses, like think about Carson Wentz, right? With the Jonathan Taylor game. Amazing. Guy, to me, he's the best running back in the league. Him and Nick Chubb. Think about all the good running games Baker Mayfield's gotten from Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Think about some of the running games that Tom Brady's currently getting from Leonard Fournette, right? Think about some of the good run games he's got over the years with LeGarrette Blount and a few of the other guys that they've had, right? Josh Allen has never gotten that game. Josh Allen has never gotten that game from a running back in his 4 years as a Buffalo Bills starting quarterback, even as a rookie when he desperately needed it. He desperately needed it in his second year. Never. He's never gotten that, that guy, the offense needs to find its rhythm a little bit. How do you do that? Let's let our offensive line get into a little bit of a flow. Just turn and hand the ball off. You don't think McDermott and Bean are sitting there just fucking losing their minds that they haven't been able to fucking get that down yet? You don't think they're pissed off that Zach Moss hasn't taken the bull by the horns and just, and they're playing, like I said, they've played 3 games, only 3 games offensively, right? With Spencer Brown at right tackle, Darrell Williams at right guard, Morse at center, Feliciano at left guard, and Dawkins at left tackle. They've played 5. Well, I'm sorry, 5. That's it. And Dawson Knox, all 3 of those guys together. They've played only 3 because he's part of that unit too, blocking and whatnot. And they've averaged 42 points in those 3 games. Not a big sample size. One of those is a KC game. Okay. That guy's been for the limited, he's had Pro Bowl level impact at right tackle for the Bills. If Bean, everybody wants to get on Bean for moving Wyatt Teller, that sucks. But he found that, to me, if he found a gem in Teller, he found a fucking diamond with Spencer Brown. Because you find a tackle with those measurables and that movement skills, those do not fall off of trees, guys. Those are hard. And that guy has the mentality that you need. The kind of mentality that Colts offensive line has, Spencer Brown has that. And we need more of that shit. I get what you're saying. The Mafia carried the fan base through the really bad period for guys like me. I just ask that you break down some plays. That's all. Go Buffalo. Read some of the comments, Doug. Eric, they're gonna bring in a couple of running backs this offseason. If these kids can't see that, then I'm sorry. They're just a couple of 3rd-round drafted running backs. I don't know if they'll be released, but they can be moved on from like that. How about that? They're gonna be playing for their Bills careers this offseason and the rest of this year. Jake Santos, watching McKenzie apparently pout and several other Bills players make questionable comments makes me think they were. I think that, Jake, I think that, what, if you're these people are not going to put up with this shit. This is not Doug Whaley. This is not old Bills, man. This is not the Rex Ryan. This isn't the, what, this is not that. Looky, here comes Cookie. All this build a bully bullshit. No. These guys are not playing games. They're not playing games. And these players who think that they somehow have a pass, this is they are truly in a what have you done for me lately business. And the Bills now have what have you done for me lately people running shit. And you make an egregious error like that in a big game at home, you're on the bench. And he was put on the bench. If that isn't an alarm bell for you, then I don't know what is. Like, for you to have an error like that, you can go online and pout all you want. Ultimately, you're the one who fucked up. You have to pay the freight. All right? Because us as fans, we're Bills fans first. I root for players that wear the Bills uniform. I'm a Bills fan. And I want them all to be great. I want them all to be what McDermott says, the best version of themselves. I want them to be that with the Bills. But the second they're not Bills anymore, I'll be honest with you, I don't really give them a second thought. Like, bye. Let me read some of the comments here. I was laughing my ass off last night when the broadcast anointed Lamar Jackson one of the players of the game. Dude, there's another guy. I wanted to say this because I tweeted this last night. You could take how horrible Baker Mayfield was last night, right? And he's injured. He's beat up. His body's torn labrum off the bone in his non-throwing shoulder. He has a sprained foot. I think he has a sprained knee. He was just limping around all over the place. You saw it. He had the shoulder harness on, all that shit, right? And then Lamar Jackson, who throws two or three of those interceptions were bad, rookie-level interceptions, right? And then Chris Collinsworth is trying to like massage it so it's like you're still watching one of the best players ever. Like, and then he's talking about the Ravens taking him, like, oh, Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh, you think taking a guy like Lamar Jackson will give other players opportunities and chances that they likely wouldn't have gotten. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this guy does realize there's people out there who know Michael Vick was the first overall pick in 2001, right? I can go back further. Fucking Andre Ware, a black quarterback who scrambled a little bit. He was a good thrower at Houston, was the 7th overall pick. This is not unprecedented, guys. Stop it. Just stop it. Maybe the running piece, but there's a lot of white quarterbacks who scramble too. Like Allen. Look at Allen. John Elway was a scrambler. Stop it. Like, with this stuff. It's a tired narrative. And he's terrible. I'm sorry. He makes games fucking unwatchable. And Lamar Jackson was terrible. If Josh Allen has that game and Chris Collinsworth is in the booth, Josh Allen is getting eviscerated. He is getting dissected. He is getting filleted out for the world to see. He would be talking in terms of, the Bills got to start questioning whether this guy's their quarterback, blah, 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 blah. Lamar, he's good. You figure it out. I'm not saying he won't, but you just, again, all I want is even-handedness. That's all I want. I just want even-handedness. Let me read some of the comments, guys. Oh, God. Singletary was on the last year of his contract in 2022. Moss, 2 years left. Yeah, it's easy to overhaul. That's what, just easy. And dude, bring a rookie or two in, undrafted free agent. Let's see, maybe Antonio Williams comes up at some point, another guy off the street. I don't care. Aaron Jones was a 5th-round draft pick. Okay? Aaron Jones. Chris Carson was a 7th-round draft pick. Tons of second-round. The best running backs in this league are second-round draft picks. Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. The list goes on. A.J. Dillon was nice yesterday with the Packers. Javonte Williams with the Broncos looks like a nice player, 2nd-round pick. Just upgrade the position. Steve Young, oh my God, was he a scrambler? Flutie scrambler. Had to throw off all these crazy different angles. It's like people just talk like these kind of quarterbacks never existed. It's like they have existed. For Christ's sake. I watched Randall Cunningham, for Christ's sake. What are you talking about, dude? My God. Like, he's like, who does he think he's commentating games for? Like, kids that have never watched the league? Yeah, I'm not trying to be an ass, Tom. I'm just trying to be real about them, bro. That's all. It would be nice to us off season for the Bills. They just gave him Antonio. They gave that guy a contract extension, man. But that's what I mean. This is what my point about the running back position is. What's up, Midnight? How you doing, bro? He's Brant Tarkington. There was tons of scramblers back then. Shit, tons. Tons. My point is, back to the original point is, Josh Allen has never gotten that running game from a running back. He's never gotten it. He's never had the Thurman Thomas landing pad that Jim Kelly had, you know. As a matter of fact, I'm eager to go look now because maybe I should have done this. I don't prep for these things, guys. Like I've said, I just go with the flow and whatever I'm feeling. But I'm eager to look now. I'm going to go back to 2018 and see some of the game logs. Okay. See, they had 202 rushing yards, right? All their big rushing games were a result of Allen's scrambles. I'm talking about handing the football off to a running back and letting him carry the freight. They had big rushing games, but all of those were padded by Allen. All of them. I'm going to try to find, did they have one in any of them that were a result of a 100-yard runner by a running back? LaShawn McCoy had 113 yards in that game against the Jets, the Matt Barkley game. Okay. This one was quarterbacked by Nate Peterman. Doesn't count. Let me see. Trying to find, okay, previous game. Yep, it was Nate Peterman. Terrible game in Chicago. They only got 47. What was their? Yep, he was the leading rusher, 47 rushing yards. Can you believe that, guys? Nathan Peterman. Previous game, Patriots. That was Derek Anderson. Doesn't count. I'd have to go back to that was another Derek Anderson game. That was another one. See, it changes. The game logs change. Okay, the Texans game where they needed a run game. 73 yards by Shady. Okay. Let's see what they got. The Houston Titans game. They won this game too. They held Derrick Henry to 56 yards on he got 85 yards. So this isn't his rookie year, okay? But then you have to continue to go up in the year when he finally got back healthy, and then he started going crazy, running for because he came back the next game, I believe, against Jacksonville, and then he scrambled. I think he scrambled for a lot of yards. He had 99 rushing yards, only 46 from a running back. Shady. Oh, 135 against Miami in the game they lost in Miami. The clay drop. He's never gotten that game. I'm sorry, bro. I can't help it. He could be an interesting piece, man. That guy's got some. That guy's got Eric. That kid's just crazy. That kid is crazy. Yeah, Fournette. I don't like Gordon. I don't like Gordon. I don't like Ingram. I'd have to really, really look, guys. I'm very picky with running backs. Like Fournette, I would love. Big, physical, downhill runner. That's the kind of running back I like. I like, for the older Bills fans, Derek Holmes, Larry Kinborough, big, physical, downhill dudes. And I'm looking at these games, like they had, again, just the big rushing games came from Allen. They didn't come from anybody else. Like, we're looking at, dude, those last few games of Josh Allen's his rookie year, this is sad. I'm looking at it. Nobody's getting like the running backs, mind you. And I know the offensive line was not good that year. We're talking about running backs getting 40-something yards. Chris Ivory had 45 yards leading rusher. Josh was the leading rusher in the last Miami game with 95 yards. That's sad. You go to the next year, I think it's probably it's probably a little bit better, but not much. That's Frank Gore. That's Singletary. The big running, I just don't have. They had, I think the last 100-yard rusher they've had, the last 100-yard rusher they've had was Devin Singletary against Washington. in 2019. That's crazy. Tony Pollard. Again, I don't want to pay a running back big money. I want them to go find a dude. Go find a dude. Eli Mitchell for the 5th-round pick. 5th-round pick, guys. We don't got to pay big money here. Upgrade the line a little bit. Find a guy. Not hard. Find 2 of them. Look up last year's Pats game at home. It was Zach Moss at 80-something yards was leading rusher. Was Zach Moss. He didn't have 100 yards. It was Zach Moss with he had like 100. Damian Harris had 102. Zach Moss and Devin both had 80. Zach Moss led the team with 86. I'll look at the Denver game, but I still think he was our last 100. Yep. The last game, it was Motor against Washington in 2000. Wow, that's crazy. I would have guessed they would have found another one in there some way, somehow, but not like that. That's pretty wild. It's worse than I thought. Worse than I thought. And again, he just does not get that. He has not gotten that game. He's not gotten one of those games. This guy's started almost 50 games for the Bills at quarterback, and he hasn't gotten one. That's astounding. That's astounding. Our running backs, no reason they shouldn't have success. We whiffed on Ford. Yeah, looks like Williams is better inside at guard. I'll take that for now. Yeah, dude, exactly, Eric. It's just we need guys, and think about it. He had Jonathan Stewart. He had dudes like that ran the ball well for them, and you don't need him. I would move on from Feliciano as well. You know what I think? He's a good guard. He's a good guard, and he's also a very good center. Like if you're gonna move on from Morse, I think you keep him in some capacity. And I would tell him to put that extra weight back on that he lost, and the team didn't ask him to lose it because I think it hurt his play. Originally, I thought it was better for him, but I think he was better heavier. I think he played much better heavier than he did light. And he does not make a lot of money. So, I mean, I would consider like having him around. Morse, they'll probably move on from. I think our tackle spots are better than advertised. If Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins are both healthy, I think we're good there. I really do. We might have to sign a free agent running back. Our first 2 draft picks are probably going to be a corner and a guard. I would say, I think our outside, I don't think we draft a running back in the first round. But after that, I personally, unless I don't know the running back class that well, but I would say our first few picks are probably going to be an offensive lineman and a cornerback, or an interior defensive lineman, just by what I think now. Let me ask Jake, what's up, bro? What was the one player, John? What was the one player? A 7th round, well, 6th round. Was he 7th or 6th? I've got to ask because you know what's crazy, Jake? I can tell you his running backs before that. I can tell you the running backs he had before that, and they were not good. They were not good. They were not good at all. He was a 6th round running back from Georgia, Terrell Davis. He made the team covering a kick in Tokyo. Okay. And you need that just, I'm not saying they've got the running back has to be the catalyst, but he's got to be somebody that they can lean on. And I don't care if it's a running back by committee. I think when you have a quarterback the caliber of Josh Allen, you can have a bell cow, quote bell cow, a guy who's on the field 25, 30 snaps a game, whether it's in running capacity, receiving capacity, third down blocking. You can have that type of dude in your arsenal. Look at a guy like Antonio Gibson right here for the Washington Redskins. Antonio Gibson. Find you one of these. Find you one of these. What's up, Lutz? I didn't want to bypass you. Yeah, it was terrible. He was terrible. Oh, I remember Cyril Richardson. Oh, God. Just terrible with the offensive line. And I've seen a lot of bad offensive linemen. I've seen the Bills move on from a guy that's going to go to the Hall of Fame because he was a little bit of a malcontent because they didn't want to pay him what he was worth, and he was worth it. And he probably got 2-3 contracts after he left the Bills and Jason Peters. So Demetrius Bell could start, okay? Oh, Demetrius Bell. Running backs are a lot easier to find. I mean, I can count more third round, second round, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round running backs that hit. Like Clinton Portis was a second round running back. Okay. Like I can think of tons. Thurman Thomas was a second round running back. I can just, those names can just fly off my lips. Steven Davis was a third round running back. Played very, very well for a number of years. Big physical running back. Morse is a center. I just think he's a center. It's just, and they know they make more money at center. They're never gonna take money out of their own pocket by moving a position like that. What's up, Tom? I just think either our running backs are sitting back to get a better team, which is trending big time. Fuck a team. It's all about money. Or GM could. I don't know about that because he found Wyatt Teller. Go find another one. That's my answer to the Wyatt Teller crowd is he found Wyatt Teller. Go find another one. He found Spencer Brown. So he can find good offensive linemen. He's just got to figure out that running back piece. And the offensive line, trust me, you guys like I did, Jonathan Taylor is talented as shit. Eric, you were in the building. Those are some big holes Taylor had to run through. Big ones. They were massive. They have 3 first-round offensive linemen on their line. And the other one is a second-rounder. I know Glowinski was drafted, I think, in like the 5th. But they have a bunch of highly drafted offensive linemen. Highly drafted. Kamara, there you go, 3rd-round pick. You could find, these guys can be found. Cook is a 2nd round. You can find these guys. You don't need to CJ Spiller it. You don't need to Christian McCaffrey. You don't need to Zeke Elliott. Look at Saquon Barkley. My God, what a waste of a 2nd overall pick. He's a bigger version of CJ Spiller. The guy is afraid of contact. He dances in the backfield. He doesn't run behind his pads, and he weighs 230 pounds. Way bigger than CJ Spiller. And he runs soft. Terrible. Ahmad Bradshaw. Remember that 80-yarder he ripped off against the Bills in 2007? 7th-round draft pick. Brandon Jacobs was like a 3rd-round draft pick. I can go on all fucking day long. I can, with these running backs. You can find running backs. There is no excuse. None. Absolutely none. Yeah, even if they say like 2nd round, I won't like it, but I'll understand it. You know what I mean? I'll understand it. Sad thing about all these years didn't have a quarterback. We had really good running backs. Well, we can find a running back. I'm not worried about that. We can find 2 of them. Even if one of these guys is the solution, so be it. So be it. I think they both catch the ball okay. I think they both run hard, but it's not consistent enough. That's why I want to see this line together and then these guys can go. You know what I mean? Maybe they can get a little bit more confidence because I hope, and if Breida wants to be one of them, go right ahead because that guy's a ball of lightning. I think Pollard is better than Zeke. He's fast as hell, man. He's fast as hell. You know, another player they're going to lose is really, really good, Michael Gallup, and they're going to lose Cedric Wilson. They drafted Lamb high. They traded for Cooper, and they paid him, and they have another receiver in there, and those two other guys, they're gonna be free agents. They're gonna be gone. They're gonna want to get paid. Breeze always demanded a great O-line because he was small, dude. He needed windows to throw in. Notice his interiors were really good, but even his running backs. Oh, it's Pierre Thomas. There was a few other guys sprinkled in there. Chris Ivory, who was really good with them. You know, he was a little, because of his physical running style, he was more broken down with the Bills, but still, like, that style, that's the kind of style I want. If the Bills could have one, that's the kind of style I want. If I could clone a running back and make him a Bill, it would be Marshawn Lynch. I just want running violence. That's what I want. That's what I crave. I don't know. I just think it's that's just how I like it. That's what I want. You know, what probably the Bills envisioned with Antoine Smith, but you know, he just never really. He was Brady's first running back. He was the guy that balanced it out. I'll tell you a little story. Nobody talks about this year. The Patriots, they win the Super Bowl in 01, right? They win it. Fair enough, they win it. The next year, they didn't go to the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs. They went 9-7. They missed the playoffs, and then they stopped. If you go look at the stats, and if you remember watching that season, Brady throws for like 600 plus passes, not even 4,000 yards, not even 25, just missed the playoffs. They're very inconsistent. That offseason, what do? They make a trade. Corey Dillon. And they get back to what they were doing with a younger, more talented player with Antoine Smith. And then they had Kevin Falk as their third down back, right? And they let Brady just manage it, and they would hammer Corey Dillon. They would just hammer Corey Dillon, and it calmed it down. They won 2 Super Bowls in a row. So people who want to devalue the run game are insane. They just don't know their history. Football is football, okay? And the greatest of players needed it. Joe Montana had Roger Craig. Steve Young had Ricky Waters. Garrison Hurst. Kurt Warner had Marshall Faulk. Peyton Manning had Edgerrin James and Marshall Faulk in his rookie year. Got Edgerrin James the following year. And even then, they tried to replace him with good first-round backs. But, you know, Dominic Rhodes was, I think he was undrafted, but he ended up being better than Donald Brown. Drew Brees in his rookie year, and in the years he had Damian Tomlinson, for Christ's sake. The list goes on. That's why I when I talk about Josh Allen, for me, he's John Elway. John Elway had none of that. His leading receivers were, before Shannon Sharp became good in like 92, Vance Joseph, Mark Jackson, Steve Sewell was one of his running backs, Rod Bernstein. He just had Ricky Natal. He had no name guys. Joseph Adai. It just, again, these are guys, like, they still went. They still went and tried to find him. And even then, Eric, Lawrence Maroney, they missed on a first-round running back. They missed on Michael from Georgia. Darrell Henderson is still playing ahead of him with the Rams. Still playing ahead of him. The running back the Bills liked in the draft with Zach Moss got taken by the Rams. They liked Akers a little. They liked Akers better than Moss. They liked Cam Akers better than Moss, and he got taken. So, yeah, you know, I refuse to believe they can't find a running back. I will not buy that. You can accidentally find a running back. Me, you, Steve, Eric, Jake, Tom, we'll find a running back. We'll find one. Yeah, he was a pain in the ass. He was a pain in the ass. I mean, remember, shit, you want to talk about a player that was a pain in the ass back then? Troy Brown. Troy Brown was a pain in the ass. That guy would play defensive back if they were injury riddled at the back end. Talk about, oh my God. Yeah, Seattle is just falling off completely. Wow. I saw you put that in the room, Eric. They're just oof. They are rough. But they live off those 2 Super Bowl trips, you know. They still have that. They're 3-7, going nowhere. And I don't like it because the Jets are going to get their draft pick. Literally, the Jets are going to get their draft pick for a safety. Talk about a stupid organization. Stupid. Some of these are like that. That's why I say these football people, give them no credit. Don't let them tell you that they know more. Anybody in their brain, in their right mind, would have not traded that for Jamal Adams. He's not an impact player. He's not worth that. He's not a premier pass rusher. He's not a quarterback, and he's not a premier corner. Even for a premier corner, I wouldn't look at the Rams now. Fuck them picks, right? F them picks. Les Snead, F them picks, coffee cup. Guess what? In a year, when you haven't won a Super Bowl, and Matt Stafford is doing what he did in the last few weeks, because that's the real Matthew Stafford, and we all seen him in Detroit, people who watch games and are astute, that's the real Matthew Stafford. He can make some wild throws, but he's going to throw some of the worst, oh my God, head-scratching plays. Couldn't win a big game if you paid him. Terrible. Is Baker I think he's like another year. I don't know. It just seems like a bad marriage there, man. That's crazy. He's all they have, man. He's all they have. DK Metcalf, 0 targets. He looks like he's putting on unnecessary weight. He just looks bulky to me now. Too rocked up. Too much weights. I was hoping we draft instead of another tackle. He hasn't really done much, though, man. He hasn't really done much, Steve. I mean, the only backs I liked in this draft, I liked Javonte Williams. He got taken, and I think I liked one more. I like a Florida running back this year, Antonio Pierce. Elijah Mitchell. I liked him, and I'm not just saying that because I have a few tweets. I can pull up the receipts because Trey Regis was his teammate, and they were talking about him going to the East West Shrine Game. And I said, I like his teammate more. And the reason I ended up watching Elijah Williams is because Kevin Dotson and Robert Hunt blocked for him most of his career. And I was watching offensive linemen, and then I saw him, and I was like, that running back is good because once he gets past the second level, that fucking guy makes people miss, and he runs physical. Catches the ball okay, too. So I liked him. But, they didn't pull the trigger. But, that's why you always keep your ammo. Your draft picks next to your quarterback. Next to your quarterback, your draft picks are the most valuable assets to your team. The Bills have the quarterback. Every draft pick, I don't give a fuck what round it is vital to me because that draft pick could turn into Matt Milano. That pick could turn into a guy that's got to replace Trey White and Dane Jackson. That draft pick could be a 4th round pick that turns into a piece that gets you Stephon Diggs. You know what I mean? Those draft picks are just completely utterly vital. Maybe you found a diamond in the rough in Spencer Brown. It's gonna take. I talk him up a lot, but we've seen the impact he's had. That's a 3rd round pick. That matters. That shit. Those picks matter. And don't let people. There's this whole new narrative going around. You guys have heard it. Draft picks are overrated. Teams overvalue their draft picks. No, bad drafting teams misuse their draft picks. Teams that do it right value their draft picks. And this is what there's how many good GMs in the league are there? How many good GMs? 8? Would you say? Would 10 be in the high number? There's 32 teams in this league. How many really true 100 caliber good GMs in this league are there right now? Think of them. I say about 8. No more. There's guys like in Arizona, Steve Keim has gotten all the chances in the world there. They just haven't fired him because they're in Arizona. If that guy is the GM in New York or just by the media, he gets fired. Just a few, not many. So the bad GMs, the turnstile GMs, are the ones that don't value their draft picks, misuse their draft picks. Chris Greer has been in Miami forever, since 2000. I know people younger than the time he's been there. Shit. There's not many. Maybe the kid, maybe the guy in Tampa Bay has gone through a lot. Right. Rick or whatever his name is. He's gone through a lot there. Maybe he should have been fired. Blew the Winston pick and some other free agent signings. He's gotten a ton. Dallas hits on their picks, but it's just their owner is such an albatross, and it just something never clicks there. Les Snead and the Rams give away their they just take them. They don't want them. But the same thing could be said for the Seattle Seahawks too. And this guy gets loitered around. Their GM gets sauntered around and circulated as a good GM. Oh, wow. Russ got away with one. That should have been a pick. He got away with one there. But let's really think about it. Who's the good GMs? Adam Gase should be the GM. Yeah, he should, right? But even Belichick, who gets loitered as this great football guy, he's blown draft picks left and right. Think about last year's draft. They drafted 2 tight ends, I believe, in the 3rd and 4th round. They drafted Dalton Keene and Asia, I think Asia or whatever, the UCLA. And they were supposed to be their guys, right? What did they have to do this offseason? They didn't have to do it. They willingly did it. They had to go pay premium dollar for 2 tight ends. They just drafted 2 kids, right? The Bills were steadfast in their belief of Dawson Knox, would not waver on him, right? And I'm not saying he's going to be the best thing. Some of you guys in this room had doubts. Some, like, man, this guy's never going to get us. We got to go get Ertz. They stuck with him. They believed in their process. They believed in the player. They believed in his work ethic. And look what we got. Broke Pete Metzelar's record. If he stays healthy, if he stays on an upward trajectory, he's gonna have every Bills tight end record for catches in a season, for receiving yards in a season. Well, Dimitrov, a Belichick disciple. The guy in the Tennessee's a Belichick. You notice the Belichick disciples that have done business with Belichick. Like they'll like Patricia. The first thing he does when he goes to Detroit, him and Bob Quinn, they basically just give Belichick Kyle Van Noy. Like, here, you want Kyle Van Noy here. I don't know if you guys know that you've heard, of course you know who he is. The coach here for Rutgers, Schiano. Another Belichick honk. He's down in Tampa Bay. You want to keep Talib? Go ahead. We'll give him to you. Basically, little to no draft compensation. LeGarrette Blount, same thing. And you've seen it. It's incestuous. Like Malcolm Butler, former Patriot castoff. Where does he land? Tennessee. Look at all the former Patriots down in Houston now. Amendola, fucking there's a few others. Rex Burkhead. It's just this big circle jerk that they have. When like what you said with Kansas City and Dimitrov, Pioli, former Patriot guy, was in KC. Just sends Tony Gonzalez to his buddy in Atlanta, Dimitrov. That's what happens. That's why it's a friends and family league. That he's always gotten. Belichick, for the most part, has always been able to poach his lackeys. He's always done it, and they'll do it with a smile. There's not as many of them as there used to be, and I don't think many of them are willing to do it as much anymore. But back before, they would do it a lot, and it's amazing how it went unnoticed. or people just like finally said, you know, this is kind of weird that they'll just hand them these players. Like Aqib Talib was a top cornerback. Fucking Giano just basically, oh, he's a little malcontent. We're just going to send him to. And then remember, it was that same year he got all that credit for locking down Jimmy Graham. It's like Belichick was some genius because, oh, man, he put his best corner on Jimmy Graham and locked him down. Oh, yeah. And Giano just gave him away to him. That's why. A guy in his division, too. Think about that. That he could have used him on his team. That's why he's where he is. Nowhere. Back in college where he started. Back at Rutgers, not where he started, but where he made his biggest name. Sorry, guys, I went on a lot of tangents tonight. Didn't plan on doing 2 hours, but it just kind of happened that way because I was just frustrated, with these Bills fans. We're about a week away from the game, be the Monday night game next week, and it's just you got Bills fans talking like losers, and I just won't stand for it. We're not. You cats who in this room don't think like that. We always believe that our team has a chance to win, no matter who the quarterback was, whether it was Tyrod, whether it was Fitzpatrick. We always, in our hearts, believe, you know what? That team goes out on the field, we got a chance. No matter what happens, we're going to root for them. We're going to stick through it, and we'll go through it no matter what. But these new Bills fans that got spoiled over these last few years, man, I'm sorry. They're just not cut from the same cloth as us. They just aren't. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know if it's just an entitlement thing, but I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like this kowtowing, just hanging your head mentality that I've seen, just because of the Trey injury, because of the Patriots' little bit of success that they've had, finding a little something. But again, feasting on bad teams that are beat up. Bills do the same thing, get no credit or even flame for it. Patriots do it. It gets cast as the greatest thing ever. This is just such a double standard I just don't like. I'm going to be nervous as hell, but man, dude, Eric, nervous. I'm nervous every game. Every game. I'm sitting here in this chair just as I sit with you guys and watch these games. If they're playing Jacksonville, I'm nervous as fuck. If they're playing the Jets, I'm in the building nervous as fuck every play. Like, that's part of it. That's that dopamine rise that if they pull through and win, it's the greatest feeling ever. No tofu Bills fans. I like that one. That's a good one, Steve. I like that one. Only 100 what is it? 100% what is there? There's 3 kinds of beef. There's prime, select, and choice. I think we're prime. We're definitely prime. Definitely no select and no choice. We're prime. And then tofu, that's the lowest form. Thanks, bro. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy your Monday nights. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. You guys are always the fucking best. Listening to me rant and rave like a maniac. But I just had to get that off my chest. None of you guys are cut from that cloth. I know that. And as Bills fans, I believe that our fan base should have a little bit more of a Teflon coating and not have this scared mentality and believe in our players a little bit more and our coaches and our brass. I just believe that. I feel like we have the better quarterback 100%. I feel like we have just as good of a coach. I feel like our roster top to bottom is just as good, if not better. And we're at home. I know there's this crazy stat that the home teams are actually 23 games below 500 this year in the NFL. Can you believe that? That's a lot. So maybe home field advantage doesn't matter as much as it used to. But either way, this year looks like everything is just up on its ear. But anyway, go Bills. Knock on wood. If we get our lineman back, I'm going to be happy as fuck. I think hopefully that should happen in the next few days. Anyway, go Bills. Love you all, brothers. Peace. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. Always. Never, like it. I've got a few new subscribers. I appreciate that so much. If you guys you subscribe. Even if you dislike, I appreciate that too, because it means you at least watched me and at least thought something of it to watch me. And maybe you didn't like what I have to say or didn't like how I said something or whatever. But I take the dislikes and the likes equally because they're important. It makes you think about, man, what did I do wrong? Or maybe I didn't do anything wrong. Maybe they just, didn't like me, and that's okay too. That's why there's a bunch of channels you can watch. Go Bills, guys. Love you all. Peace. It's supposed to snow. Ooh, Wagyu beef grass fed. Oh shit! Now you're really getting into good stuff, bro. Gonna drop like 150 bills on that porterhouse. Let me know about that, Eric. Let me know you're up there in the area, so the forecast is definitely gonna be important. And you know what? I'm gonna look up. You guys can do this too. See if Mac Jones has ever played in snow before. Find out if Mac Jones has ever played in snow. And what's the lowest temperature he's ever played in, because he's played most of his career at Bama and he's from the South. So that'll be interesting to see. Love you all, guys. Go Bills. What'd you think, Rami?